You know what I was thinking about today? So I was kind of going to put a few different things together. So I say like thinking about today. It's 4:30 in the morning. I've been up since I think 2:45. I was laying there and I was uncomfortable, and I had this weird dream too, because it was like all of a sudden I was being something shown Stella, but like I was outside of my body. Like my dreams are so trippy now. But it was showing me something about her hips and her pain. And so then, like I said, it's like I'm in this conscious state, kind of like I hear conversations going on while, I'm asleep or whatever. So right after that, I was just laying there and I was thinking for a minute, and I was trying to get comfortable because my mattress pad comes tomorrow. I was trying to get comfortable, and then she woke up. And so I was like, oh, I'll get up and go pee and see what time it is. And then I come out, it's like 2:45. I'm like, but she jumped up and ran out here and wanted to go outside. So, I started doing some stuff. And then, I gave her medicine and everything. When she went back to sleep, I went in there to lay down, but they're like, no, we have things to say. So get up. And so, one thing, I'm going to talk about sexuality. So if you have no interest in sex and sexuality, then, I'm going to talk about that. I'm just going to do it in this one. And then I'm going to do, I think I'm going to probably do a couple more today. But kind of more separate topics. Like I can talk a little bit longer about the one thing. So, I can isolate a topic. So this one was sexuality. So I was thinking this morning, I was thinking about, it's kind of funny, is I remember when I was younger and I had, my first drawer of vibrators and stuff, and we were moving. And I was already together with somebody, my first husband. And I was, there's a lot of issues that went on back then. And we were from two different states. He was California and I was Texas. And neither of us had any business being in a relationship. And, we're going back and forth from this parent to that parent, it was ridiculous. And then I get pregnant. And so, and I thought I was sterile. I didn't have any idea I could even get pregnant because of all of my other irresponsible sexual experiences. So, anyways, I was like a late bloomer. I just hadn't started ovulating properly. My period was always out of whack. And maybe it was because I lived in a home full of stress. I don't know. But anyways, things happen the way they're supposed to happen, when they're supposed to happen, how they're supposed to happen. So, lessons are brought to us, at the least expected time. So I just remember I had like a drawer of vibrators, and he was older than me, and he was, into porn and stuff like that. So sex toys, hell yeah, let's get some, And so, and this was a long time ago. I mean, people think like things were like they are now back then, but they, no. Yeah, I mean, just think about how much people made fun of, the girl who, everybody had one in their class, the girl who got the rumor about the electric toothbrush situation that she got walked in on or something, Everybody has some story about that. And, making fun of the person, but really it's like, damn, they're innovative. I didn't think of that. When you're a kid and you're looking around like, what would work? What would work? I didn't think, I don't even think we had electric toothbrush. If I used my toothbrush, it'd be the same thing. I'd have to be the electricity. So, anyways, my first drawer, I remember being so humiliated and embarrassed, and I wrapped it all up in a bag when we were going to do this move. I couldn't take this, to a parent's house. Because it was a couple months in there, we had our own apartment, There was high hopes of a future at one point in life. And then, so I wrapped them all up and I took them to a dumpster in a parking lot. And I was just thinking about that this morning because, like, my drawer now is just, you know, it's like I've kept every little freaking thing. I mean, I've got so many bottles of, you know, lube and stuff like that you had, you know, around forever and ever. It's like, it's probably gum by now. It's probably like, why do I keep this stupid shit? Because it's got a cute bottle. Like, so I look like I have an interesting drawer. It's like, you only need one. You only need one thing. That's all you need. You know, and my poor little farfanugan, he's, you know, he's seen his last days. He's like, hey, girl, you wore me out. And it was getting me thinking about, like, it's funny because, you know, all my best orgasms have been by myself. It's been me and my whatever up and coming Farfignugan was going, you know? And so it was like that's been my best orgasms. And, you know, when I've been with guys that they couldn't, you know, complete the, you know, they couldn't complete the circuit. They couldn't finish the situation. You know, it was a one time, it was a focus on them kind of situation, you know. And then they'll turn around and call me cold or frigid or, you know, like it's my fault. Well, geez, I was pretty progressive. Like, I was openly, you know, had a vibrator and stuff like that. It was their sexual repression putting on me. Like, I was supposed to just, you know, spontaneously combust because their penis touched my vagina. It's like, no, there's like a little work you got to do with it. You know, it's not a automatic change giver. You know, you gotta put some dollars in. So it didn't make any sense. But, you know, back then in my days of being super insecure, it's like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? But, you know, there's nothing wrong with me. There's something wrong with the sexual experience that I'm having with these people, because it isn't, it's not tuned into each other. You know, there's a big difference in, like, tantric sex, in which I believe, you know, we need to be headed more towards. I think we just naturally will. You know, people are going to start seeing how empty it feels to have sex with people that you have no connection with. You know, and going through stressors too of, like, pregnancies and having kids with people that you don't really like that much, and all of the complications that come with having sex with people that you don't really know, you don't really care too much about. You know, it starts eating away at you like acid in your soul, you know. So I think we're going to be headed a lot more to that, you know, super connection, you know, tuning into each other and really wanting to connect on a spiritual level and, you know, go off this planet having sex. And I think that, you know, it's, you know, us, it's our evolution, it's our progression that will get us more to that kind of place we want to be, because we want to feel connection with sex. I mean, you take a bunch of sexual creatures and then you say, you know, you need to evolve, you know, you need to do something more. Yeah, sex is fun, but, you know, there's more components to how you're going to feel about it and the complications you bring to your own life. And, you know, I was also thinking it's funny because, you know, even back then, if you were with somebody and they were, you know, running in and having, you know, freaking, I think at the time they even said, if you have somebody who's going in to pleasure themselves 4 or 5 times a day, they've got, you know, some issues. Like, they may have mental problems. And I was thinking, it's kind of funny because, you know, a guy has to, you know, go in and do that like 4 or 5 times. But, you know, I could sit in there having 25, overheating my vibrator, and nobody's going to think I'm crazy. Nobody's going to, you know, you got to get it all done at one time. Get it all in a one-time shot. And, but, you know, it's all a part of how we evolved, like how we used to, if you like sex, you know, you were obviously, if you were a female, you were a slut. If you were a guy, well, you know, that makes sense. But if you were a girl, then, you know, you had issues, like you were probably going to go to hell. And sometimes, you know, I'll talk openly with my kids about sex and stuff. And they'll be like, well, have you ever said this to grandma or whatever? And it's like, no, it's a totally different time. Like, that would be very intrusive. Like, they don't get how different things were. You know, they think life is all about how it is right now. And the thing about how it is right now is, you know, it's deeply disturbing. I mean, they're grooming kids and people are allowing it and they're not even noticing. You know, if yesterday I saw where David Rodriguez, I maybe already said this, but David Rodriguez was reading an article, and it was, I think it was in Ohio or something, and it's some camp for kids. And it's like 8 to 10-year-old kids. And when you read like what they're going to offer at the camp and stuff, so it's about them learning about touching themselves and what feels good and what doesn't feel good. What? And how to put condoms and stuff on. 8 or 10-year-olds, like, and then there's also a whole thing of in Florida right now that there is there's some kind of thing in the schools that they want to teach, something weird like that, you know, something that they want to teach. And so DeSantis, I think, is their governor, and he said, no, you're not bringing that into our schools. No, that's not okay. We're not going to teach kids this sexual stuff at this age. It was the same kind of thing, like, you know, when super young. I think this one was even like 5-year-olds teaching them about sexuality, what, pre-kindergarten? And so the CEO of Disney came out against DeSantis and said, oh, well, I think that we should definitely, we got to be all inclusive. We got to make sure that we're teaching this stuff because we got to include. And he starts going through the letter thing. It's like kids aren't focused on their sexuality at that age. You know, they're focused on pretending to be cowboys and Indians and princesses and, you know, who knows what they're telling them to be now. I mean, yeah, be a princess and go. They are, you know, they're grooming kids and people aren't even noticing. I mean, when you got Disney coming out, but my one friend who was telling me about that, she was going in and reading the comments, and she said that there was a lot of people going, you know, they could see, that knew exactly what's up with Disney. They were saying it in all the comments about the stuff they put in their movies and what they're doing to the kids already, and they need to shut the fuck up, you know. So this is what I'm talking about, this natural progression of how things are going to happen that's going to take down the cabal, you know. It's going to come down naturally. It's the energy, it's this shifting of the energy because, you know, we're changing the ages, so we're going into a new time, new experiences, so it has to come to the surface. We have to see the truth, and we have to decide, you know. It's not just seeing the truth, it's claiming what is your truth, you know. It's you know, saying no, kids need to be kids. They don't need to be worrying about that. When you start worrying about it is when you start having hormones and stuff. That's when we need to start worrying about, like, when they know about it. But see, that's also where we need to get kids to know the importance of exploring themselves. You know, you shouldn't, unless you are completely comfortable with masturbation and talking about it and stuff like that, I don't think you're ready to have sex with an opposite sex person, because, you know, it's like playtime, like when you're playing doctor as little kids, only now you can get pregnant. But it's like the same thing, you know. Oh, let me see your parts. Oh, let's see what these parts do to each other's parts, you know. It's just the next step in you know, discovering yourself and discovering that there's an opposite sex. And but we need to teach kids, you know, when you get to that part, you know, it's why they shamed boys for masturbating, you know, making fun of it and stuff. It should have been like, yes, masturbate for the next 10 years until you grow up, then go out and look for somebody to have sex with. You know, why are we shaming people for their own body exploration? You know, that's what we need to be pushing them on. You know, discover yourself, discover everything about your own body, what feels good to you. Don't go outside of yourself and try and find somebody to make your body feel good. You know, and you know, if anybody can find something that feels better than an orgasm, please let me know. I'll sign up, because I've never figured out anything that's better than that. I mean, it's like a fucking fireworks show inside your body, you know. So I think you know, there's appropriate times for us to, you know, and it's not the school's position, it's not the school's job. It kind of reminds me of like all of the, remember when this stuff was coming out, Michael Jackson, and you know, these boys have come out, well, they're men now, and said, you know, what went on there, and you know, supposedly, I mean, he, you know, it's a one person story, so how can we know anything? Because you know, I mean, just like I could be making shit up about my dad, he's not here to defend him. So you know, nobody has any business hating my dad, because looking through it from my perspective, that's my perspective, that's my journey. And you know, we all have our own stories. We don't need other people to be involved in our stories that aren't involved in our stories, you know. So but they were always saying about the parents were, you know, they loved him so much, they respected him so much, they trusted him so much. It's the same thing what people are doing with the government in their education systems, you know. They're trusting them so much. And whether or not Michael did it or whatever, is still, you shouldn't be handing over your trust of your kids to someone else, because you just lost control. You've given it over to someone else. And so, and then they're so brainwashed, you know, they believe, you know, this makes sense, that kids should start transitioning at young ages and all of this stuff, that, you know, if a boy wants to put on a dress, well, let's go with that. You obviously want to be a girl, little boy. It's like, maybe he just likes dresses. Maybe he just likes to put on pretty things, you know, make prettier boy clothes, you know. But that doesn't mean he doesn't want to go out and play baseball. But if he's going to get shamed and put into a box, you know, it's like, let kids express themselves the way they want. Maybe he wants to go out and play football and wear a fucking tutu. Let him, you know. And I think that we kind of have seen, as boys have been evolving more of, you know, getting more comfortable. Like, if I want to paint my fingernails, that doesn't mean I'm a girl. Doesn't mean I'm, you know, gay. It doesn't mean anything. It just means I like colored nails. Like, we've got to let people just express themselves how they want to express themselves, and quit trying to box them in. Well, you do that, that means you're gay. You do that, that means you're transitioning. You know what I mean? It's like, just allow people to be. And, you know, start developing more as intelligent beings and looking at what doesn't work. You know, what about this free sex stuff has worked? You know, I mean, you've got people killing themselves over love, killing other people over love. It shouldn't be like that. You know, it's because you're broken people trying to make relationships work. And we've got to start with the healing ourselves, you know, showing our kids how to heal, you know, how, I mean, just think about how different life can be in homes, you know, of, you know, it's not about go to your room, get out of here, get out of my face, you little fucker, you know, to be in there like, okay, you know, you're really wound up right now, why don't you go in and meditate, you know, teaching kids how to self-regulate, how to connect with themselves, how to be able to control their emotions, master their own emotional, you know, because especially during the time while they're growing up, you know, they've got so much changing all the time. And, you know, I was thinking it's so crazy where we go from being kids where we're just so excited about life and we love everything. We're so sure of ourselves, you know, and we have all the answers. And if somebody else has all the answers, that's cool too. You know, we're so excited about life, you know, and just wanting to experience. And then, you know, it just starts being like, oh, you're weird. Oh, you're stupid. Oh, you're ugly. Oh, you're fat. Oh, you're skinny. Oh, you're tall. Oh, you've got glasses. Like, we just start picking each other apart until we just feel like we're just a shell of ourselves, you know? We crawl inside of ourselves and build walls around ourselves to protect ourselves. And then we try and, you know, come out and connect. But we don't know how, because we're not vulnerable. We're not being authentic. We're not showing our true self. We're showing this fake self that we think will please others. And we end up feeling empty, you know? And it's all so simple, you know? And we can change all this stuff. And I know we will change all this stuff. Like, I know why I'm here. I'm here to talk about this stuff. Because it's all about looking at things differently. Even this morning, you know, Stella's with the jowls, they get a lot of stuff that hangs up in there, and then they'll get a drink, or sometimes just slobber. I swear to God, if I'm eating something and she wants some, I always make her have manners, so she'll sit down and, you know, but she'll still sit and stare at me. And it's just like a faucet of drool coming out. You know, it's like a little ocean you have to clean up. But so when she shakes her head, these little things go out. And so I noticed this big one on the wall this morning. I was like, oh shit, I gotta clean the wall. And then I hear him like, oh, we've been showing you this for days. Like, you're not paying attention. You know, you're gonna talk about paying attention to people. Pay attention, you know, because it was, when I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, there's some over there. I gotta clean the walls. I really gotta get over there and clean the walls. But it kept on being like, oh, I gotta clean the walls. I gotta clean the walls. But I wasn't doing it. Wasn't going to the next step. You know, so everything is about, like, we can hear something, you know, just like the let go, let God. You know, I could hear and hear and hear, but it just hadn't sunk in what it actually meant. And there's so much, you know, where we just have to really just let it penetrate into us so that we can evolve into more perspectives and understanding things in a different way, because it's so simple to change some of this stuff, you know. And I feel like that you know, that tribe kind of, you know, there's so many indigenous tribes. I mean, that's what, you know, people tend to go to in, you know, in surviving in the world. You know, they develop tribes and families and groups and communities. And, you know, when we get more into, what was I going to say? I think I just lost that one sentence. Damn it. Well, anyways, I think you get what I'm saying. I know I go on sometimes, but I think you get what I'm saying is, you know, it's a simple transformation. We're at a time now where we are transforming. Things are coming to the surface. We're seeing, like, you know, I mean, we're evolving and changing from being super repressed. Oh, don't talk about sex. Sex doesn't happen. Oh, it's naughty. You're going to go to hell if you have sex. You know, if you're a girl back in the 70s or 80s, you know, and you were sexual, then you were, you know, you had the devil attached to you, you know, the demons were on your tracks. So we've evolved a lot, you know. We're getting to a place of understanding. It's all about, we are sexual creatures, and it is about owning your sexuality, whatever it is, you know, a boy who wants to wear a dress, or a girl that wants to wear, you know, baggy jeans with her, you know, underwear hanging out. You know, everybody has their own thing, their own style. We're unique. And, but they want to constantly put us in a box. In all of their boxes, you know, it's about grooming the kids, you know, and it's up to us to see, like, hey, this isn't okay. And the beautiful thing is once you start seeing this isn't okay, it is when you start making change. You know, that is the awakening. You just need a little hole in there. Once there's like a little hole in the dam, it just keeps going, you know. The water will begin to flood in. You'll begin to understand things. You'll see things so differently. But it is, you know, it's a simple transformation that we need to go through when it comes down to it. that kind of shake, that's where the slobber. Hi, sweetie. That transformation is, it's us. It's each of us setting a standard for ourselves and healing. and beginning to love ourselves, not looking outside of ourselves to make ourselves happy, and to really develop and take down those walls, become vulnerable, you know, accept yourself and explore yourself so you can go out into the world, you know, as a healed person when you're not trying to get something from others, you know. It's just where the bells, she uses them, they're supposed to be just so she could go out, but she uses them to bitch. Okay, okay, I'll be back.